Hi, my name is Aubrey, and I want to talk about how I stepped out of my comfort zone this past month. So, I'll be going over what area I decided to challenge myself in, why did I do that, reflecting on the experience, and how I would grow from it. So, if it wasn't clear from the theme of my background theme, it's baking that I'm going to be challenging myself in. And so, just for reference, I'm going to be trying to make a Swiss roll cake. I have always seen these. I thought they are so pretty. And one time I did actually end up buying a cake, and it was $6 to $8 from Toilet Shores. And I just thought to myself, ain't no way again. I will make it myself. Although I said that 2 years ago, so here we are. And my friends always told me, it's really easy to make this type of cake. Well, I have never made it before, and I've never made a cake before, especially one that looks like this, so I was kind of intimidated by it, quite honestly. So, another reason I'm challenging myself is I want to improve my baking skills. I am trying to pick up baking as a hobby, and really, the only thing I know how to make is banana nut bread and muffins. And there's a lot of different things to bake, so I wanted to expand my horizon. Also, as I bake more, I learned there are different nuances to baking, right? Depending on what pan you use, like metal or glass, depending on what type of sugar you use, and baking soda, baking powder, it can kind of change the textures or flavors. So I thought I wanted to bake and experiment with all of this. And also, whenever I bake, at least my banana nut bread, I love that when I share it, it brings those I care about and appreciate joy. So I just wanted to learn how to bake something sweet for them so I can keep them sweet. And then on top of that is there's a store closing nearby, and I recently bought a jelly roll pan. So I thought now I have the material, the pan. I really have to make this cake. So I did my research. I found a different couple recipes, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and I kind of prepped, thought through my head, what did I have in my house? Because I really tried not to buy more ingredients because I think it's a valuable skill in itself to try to figure out what ingredients to use depending on what's in the house, right? And so once I mix those ingredients, right, then I bake the cake. So when I, for the first time ever last month, made cupcakes because I was assigned to make cupcakes for my medical assistant, I bought two cake box mixes, and this is the chocolate one I did not use. And at that time, I made a muffin. I learned that an extra cup of Greek yogurt equals 1 egg. And I really wanted to add it into this recipe, right? Because I specifically looked up how to make a roll cake using a box mix. And some called for 6 eggs, some called for 3 eggs, and not in this economy will I be using 6 eggs. But I thought I could always substitute with Greek yogurt. However, since I have never made a Swiss roll cake, and I thought since it's a little bit different, right? It's not necessarily a thick cake I'm using it. It has to be more like a sponge cake. I stuck to the recipes that I read, and I did not add an extra cup of 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt as much as I wanted to, and the cake wasn't necessarily as moist as I wanted. So the other thing too was I tried to spread it. Some recipes called for parchment paper, some called for foil, some said just use the pan. And I tried to smooth it, like put the batter smooth on the pan like this, but it ended up turning up like this because the parchment paper was sliding everywhere. And it was just a disaster. But I ended up putting it in the oven, as you can see there. And then I took it out of the oven after 15 minutes. And this
Trying to make some rolled cake here. Has anyone ever done this?
and I wasn't sure, as you can tell, if I was doing this right. I was supposed to use a dishcloth. Some said to use a parchment paper. Others said to use a dishcloth and put powdered sugar on it to roll it. So I let the cake after I took it out of the oven cool for 2 minutes. It's kind of what one of the videos I saw do, and then I thought it'd be hard to roll the cake because it was quite thick since I couldn't smooth it out. But the dishcloth actually helped with rolling it well, and I hear that the reason why people use dishcloths, it helps keep the moisture in. So I use the dishcloth.
Okay.
Okay, and then while I let it cool because I had to let the roll cool, and I had the option of putting it in the refrigerator or just letting it cool in the drying rack. So I let it cool in the drying rack, and while that happened, because it had to cool for an hour, I made the whipping cream. I have never made whipping cream before. I've made icing before, once in my life via last month, but I never made whipping cream. But I still had the leftover heavy whipping cream and the powdered sugar. And this is another debate too, because some whipping cream recipes called for granulated sugar and some called for powdered sugar. The YouTube video recipe I was following didn't necessarily specify the sugar, it just said sugar. The video looked like it was powdered sugar. On top of that, the video measurements was in grams, and I don't have a scale. So the whipping cream was something I was the most unsure about because I just put everything I had in there or whatever leftovers I had in. And this is how I felt.
Y'all, baking is a trust the process because this was so liquidy, although it doesn't really taste like cream cheese, so I'm a little sad. Y'all,
the recipe called for half the cream cheese, I think, when I converted how much the weight was. And I ended up putting the whole thing because when I first started like mixing it and put it all together, it was a liquid mess. And after an hour, which shouldn't have taken an hour, standing by the hand mixer, we got to something that could be spread because that liquid thing I had in the beginning could not be spread. But, I stood there, trusted the process, and we got the whipping cream. And this is what the end result looked like. I was very disappointed in the crack there. I unrolled it, put the whipped cream. When I rolled it back in, more cracks came out. So all of this filling just came out, and I was very sad about it. But I said I gotta make this, and I want my family and coworkers to try it. So my mom ended up liking it, and then I put it in the box and saved it for my coworkers, see what they would say. Just reflecting on the experience, I was certainly confused, as you can tell. I was not sure if I was doing it right. Was I supposed to put a dishcloth? Why was the parchment paper slipping around? I was confused, right? I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I felt uncomfortable. I really didn't like feeling confused because I really wanted to make a good cake, but I wasn't doing it well is what I felt like. So I was uncomfortable, but I ended up having fun, especially with that whipping cream. I mean, it was stressful for me at the time, but when that whipping cream was done, it tasted so good. And I was nervous because I had never made this before, but I wanted my office to try it, and I brought it to them. And in fact, when the doctor took 2 slices and he liked it, and my whole office liked it, I was very proud of myself and felt very happy. And I said, wow, I can do this. And in fact, I bought ingredients yesterday to make another Swiss roll cake. So that is, how I felt. In terms of how I growed, confidence. I have baked certain things before, right? To just in my skills and past experiences. And this not just applies to baking, but to my role as a physician assistant, right? Things I've learned worked, things I've seen work, and just doing that. Even if I may encounter a new problem, doing things, applying things I've learned, right, from my past experience, and applying it to this new thing. Same with if I was just even driving somewhere, or if I was stuck somewhere, like, what do I know? Have I been here before? What do I recognize? What streets? Having confidence in what I know. And then being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Whenever I do something new, I'm not going to be comfortable, okay? And I learned that I need to be comfortable being a little bit uncomfortable because sometimes those things can lead to something fun or it can lead to failures. But it's important, right? From my failures, I learned we can learn from our mistakes, right? From the parchment paper sliding, I learned I can tape it down after I watched a video and just kind of maybe waiting for the cake to cool down more. In terms of failure too, my role as a PA, right? If I learned that this medicine, someone's having nausea, chemo-induced nausea is pretty big, Zofran's not working, okay, let's try Compazine. Just kind of learning from our failures and mistakes, learning what have I seen work, what can I try to, and what have I seen not work, and kind of applying that. And then another thing is just to ask, ask for help if I asked others, how can I improve on my roll cake? Some people said, let the cakes cool down a little more before rolling it. Other people said they kind of wanted more whipping cream, and that kind of will help with if I cracked it less. And then the other thing, just asking, right? If I don't know something, especially with being a PA, asking my doctor, asking my lead PA, asking my coworkers, just what can I do better? What have they noticed works for them? Because different things work for different people, and just trying to pull from their experiences and see if it works for me. Also, again, kind of going back, if I was stuck somewhere, if I don't know how to do something at the gym, I don't know how to use certain equipment. So hopefully I can be able to ask the people who work there how to use the Smith machine, because I have been there for a year and I still don't know how to use it. I've watched videos, but I'm still scared. So learning to ask, and hopefully I can apply that there. And then asking too for improvement too, even if I'm working out, even if I run my job, and now in baking. And then not letting fear stop me from doing something I want to do. I was intimidated by this cake cake, and I didn't do it for 2 years, but it actually did end up being okay, right? Because things we fear doesn't always end up being scary, and that can apply to a lot of things. And my job, I really want to travel, so hopefully I can apply that there. Like, I want to travel to Japan next year, and I'm trying to plan that. And I'm kind of scared of planes right now, but I can't let that stop me, because it can end up being fun. And then patience. The whipping cream, such a trust the process, but it ended up working out. And this can be applied to, right, with, a lot of different things. In my work, I want people to be healed from cancer after getting one dose, but that's not how that works. And I have to go through with them, and also kind of for me, tell them, sometimes it takes 12 cycles, right? You're going to get this chemo, and then every 2 to 3 months, we're going to be getting scanned to see if this treatment is working, right? Just trust the process. Just, some things are going to take times. And same with, actually last week, my dog got really sick, and I want him to get better immediately, but that's not how that works. Things take time and to do. So that is what I learned, and of stepping out of my comfort zone. I hope that this inspires you to bake, step out of your comfort zone, and maybe to make some sweets because it keeps others sweet. Thank you.